Welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage. It's the Friday update. Once again, a day late. But I have a good reason. A buddy of mine called me Wednesday night. He said he was going to drop off his excavator and dump truck and show up on Friday to start digging stumps and clearing more land. Pretty exciting stuff. So I played truck driver for the day. I hauled 63 yards of fill. He dug stumps, moved a giant rock, pushed some trees down. Pretty impressive for a relatively small machine, 70 series John Deere. We'll go look at it. It's amazing what one guy can accomplish in a few hours. I'll start off by saying I love my tractor. It's 60 horsepower, has a 10-foot backhoe, and given enough time, you can do quite a bit of work with it. But when you compare it to an actual excavator, this is a toy. So perfect for homeowners, slightly bigger. It's actually a farm tractor size, probably at 60 horse with a turbo. I use it for snow removal mostly, and it's excellent. And I can dig stumps and move earth, but nothing compared to the old excavator. When I built my driveway many years ago, really the only path down behind the house was right here, because that's a septic system over there, and going around the other side of the house really wasn't feasible. So this is it. So as long as you're careful backing down, I've never had any trouble. I used to be able to come down, drive down with my trailer, and there was no hut, stuff, boxes, more trailers and junk, and I could spin right around with the truck and trailer and head back out. I mean, I like backing up a trailer, but if you can pull down and spin around as many times as I'm trailering stuff, it was super handy. I used to have a motorhome and a big trailer, and that wouldn't quite swing, so I always dreamed of having a circle over there, again, before the boxes. But there was a few obstacles. Let's get a little closer. Excuse my junk that was hidden by trees. I'm going to have to move all that this week because we're going to do more digging over there. But that giant rock was right here. And I don't know how many times I hit it with a snowplow blade, nearly wrecked it. It was preventing me from doing anything useful with this piece. It's why I was storing junk there. But now, we're going to continue to roll that rock further into the woods. It's a beautiful rock, but it's a big rock nonetheless. But there were trees. I wasn't quite ready to have him come dig stumps, but where I'm pointing right here, was a whole line of big trees, one of them leaning toward my tractor hut. He just pushed them over and cut them up. I have a buddy, Tom, that comes and cuts trees, and we cut one down, we process the whole thing, cut it up to length to save it. It's a smooth operation. This operation was a little more hectic. I was cutting them up as best I could while he was working on the excavator. It rained all day while we were doing it off and on, while I was trucking and he was cutting and pushing. But hey, we got it done. So let me get a different perspective here. I got some more stuff I got to deal with over here, so we were digging that way a little bit. There's a hill behind that pile of brush that now exists that I'd like to push snow off of, and I also like to sled in the wintertime. A pile of snow where the brush is. If we climb to the top of that and slide down over the hill, it'd be fun. My son's still young, so I want to build him a nice ramp for sledding. But this is a giant area now. Really the only flat part of my lot, and I've always wanted to get down here to do something with it, but it's a lot of work to get this far. In fact, the whole area used to be trees almost up to the garage up there. As much as I don't like cutting trees, I've been doing it since I moved in, so I've been here 30 years. So we're going to continue to clean over there and along the hill ridge here, and be ample room for future expansion, lots of parking. Kind of dreamed about a go-kart track over here. We'll see if that actually happens. And someday, another garage down here, maybe just for storage of vehicles, but it's making room for future expansion. And again, this is the only flat part of my lot. Everything else seems to be a hill or covered in ledge. So I'm glad we're finally exposing it down here. It's a lot of work, but good times. My buddy Jim owns the excavator. He has an auto repair shop. But he's grown tired of doing that all the time. And it just happened that he picked up this machine. It needed a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. This guy isn't afraid of anything. He's really smart. This machine, the valve body was messed up and none of the controls worked and the pins were all wore out and the boom was broken. And here it is. It'll work all day and not even break a sweat. But this is the perfect size. It's bigger than what you can rent, you know, for your average homeowner. But with the dozer blade and stuff, I mean, it's just fantastic. He put a thumb on it. He has a 10-ton trailer that he fixed up a little bit and a dump truck that he found that I drove all day. 3116 with a 5 and 2 speed rear. That thing is sweet. Only has 15,000 miles on it. So. It's a fuel sipper and it hauls 7 or 8 yards of dirt. So, and I found a gravel pit that's only about 5 miles from me, so I'm round tripping every 20-30 minutes. I gotta load myself, but pretty good operation for something that was completely unplanned a couple days ago. I've mentioned before I spent 28 years working for a large municipality, and that gave me more access to more things than a normal automotive career would. Let's review. I started working in a transmission shop and then another transmission shop, and that exposed you to some difficult work, which is transitioned into somewhat of a lifestyle, and it's a skill I'm glad I have. There's far too many mechanics that say, I don't do that. Well, starting in the transmission shop, and then I went to a dealer where you specialized as a Chrysler dealer. This is back when the K car had come out. And we only worked on the same car. That same platform was pretty much the whole fleet of vehicles for the most part. So you got good at that. It exposed me to flat rate. I still consider it one of the best jobs I ever had, working flat rate, individual flat rate. So if there was work to do and you were good at what you did, you could really make some money. I took a giant cut in pay to work for the municipality, but I was kind of shown the light that, you know, long term, with retirement, a generous retirement plan and stuff, you know, I took a step back, but actually took a step forward. And with 28 years there, I started as a police mechanic and then transitioned over to the public works side, where we had every piece of equipment you could think of. I mean, everything. You name it, we had it. And I was exposed to, you know, heavy-duty trucks and equipment, so it's just, you don't realize at the time that every day, you know, if you can sit in any piece of equipment and run it, you're that much better off. It also spoils you to, you know, when you sit in a big piece of equipment and you pull the lever, things happen. If you buy a little Kubota for your house, you hook into something and you pull the lever, nothing happens. You take little scoops, whereas, you know, you're running a giant machine, you get a little bit spoiled. So it was kind of funny. Yesterday I pulled into the gravel pit and they basically told me the keys are in the loader, load yourself and write down what you take. It worked out pretty good because, again, I've driven many loaders. This was no challenge at all, but I thought it was kind of funny. They just pointed at it and said, there it is. But with that job, it allowed me to take a dump truck and the trailer and, you know, go get my Class A license many, many moons ago, almost 30 years ago, and you just have it. So I actually took every test and had every endorsement. I let my hazmat go for now because getting it and maintaining it after 9/11 pretty much became the same process. So I don't currently have a use for the hazmat endorsement, but I have every other one. School bus, passenger bus, all that stuff. So if I need another career, if I need to go drive a school bus or drive a Greyhound or whatever, I'm ready. So in life, if you're young, take every advantage or every opportunity you can to better yourself. And you may not seem like it at the time, but every time you have choices in different career paths, if, you know, something happens physically or whatever and you need to do something else, it's good to have choices. So I don't give out a lot of advice on the personal level, but if you're young and a mechanic, be as diversified as possible and get every thing that's available to you. If it's, you know, training programs on the job or anything else, take it when you're young and you're going to have it for the rest of your life, and it's always there. So when, you know, an opportunity comes up and you get to fill your yard full of gravel, you can just hop in that dump truck and go do it. When I worked at the Chrysler dealer, I hadn't been there very long when they told me that for every ASE certification you get another 25 cents an hour. There was 8 to be a master tech at the time. And I just went and took all the tests. I think I had to go over like on a Tuesday and a Thursday night, or maybe a couple weeks in a row, but you know, take a bunch of tests that are really intuitive. If you're a good mechanic, if you're watching me build transmissions or going to do it yourself, you can probably pass those. And again, it looks good on a resume if nothing else. So I know they still do that. I think there's more than 8 available now, but at the time that's all there was, and I became a master tech and picked up $2 an hour, which back then that was pretty good, especially flat rate. Enough of me in front of the camera flapping my gums. Let's get down to the real reason you're here. The cool stuff that I might have dragged home this week. I found, purchased, and received, I should say, the actual Kentmore Turbo 400 bushing service tool set. All brand new in packages. I just unpackaged it and I'm going to put it in some kind of container or box. For those looking, that's the part number. 375, 400, and 425. And of course 475, but this should service. I haven't gone over the list even. I was so excited to find it. It was listed for about 200. I offered 175 and they took it. I know there's a few left. Good luck in the purchase. It comes with a staking tool. That's what the pliers are. A handle for all the drivers and removers. Excited to try it. Also excited to finally have in my possession, and I should have just made it, but again, those late night purchases, it seems like a good idea. The brand is Street Side Tools. It's actually pretty well made, but you could make one yourself. I see them advertised as just 2 pieces of angle welded together with a piece of threaded rod, but this is a pump puller. It just fits under the splines. Couldn't be any simpler. If you are using it on something that has a check ball on the end of the shaft, which is not a Turbo 400, but a 204R or something like that, you're going to have to be careful. Put like a round piece that comes with the snap-on pullers to protect that, and then put the pointed end of this into that. But not a concern on the Turbo 400, but I usually just pop it out with a screwdriver, but there are times when it gets cocked, or there's lots of reasons why I decided to spoil myself and buy a pump puller while I was buying all these cool tools. A buddy of mine asked me one day after watching my video complaining about drilling on an angle for the bleed hole in a direct drum on a Turbo 400, he says, why don't you just drill from the other side? And he's right, and I do now. I carefully measure in from the side of the drum. There's a measurement that came with one of the transbrake valve bodies I bought, the Cohen. It said 410 thousandths in from the edge. I find that a little bit too close to the inner wall of the drum, so I set in about 440 or 450. 450 thousandths from this edge, and that's probably the 10th drum I've drilled with that 1/16 bit. I just prick punch it, start it a little bit, put a drop of oil there, and just gently work my way down. I don't even clamp this or anything. I just hold on with my finger, and so far so good. And the only reason I was drilling on an angle was to clear the chuck, and it's just the way I'd always done it, the way everybody does it. But this is much more efficient, at least from the standpoint of breaking drill bits. So this is how I do it now. The 34 element Sprag is a wonderful thing. It's heavy duty, and in most cases, it won't fail. However, they can and do fail, especially if you abuse it on the burnout. Again, you're supposed to start in second and shift to third, or never hook the tires in second. There's lots of reasons to hurt the Sprag, to roll the Sprag. And what does that actually mean? Well, this is one that's actually damaged. And if you look close, the points are facing where the race would be on the drum. This is a brand new, perfectly healthy one. First clue is it's good. They're all loose, and the round part is actually facing the race. You can't see the pointed part. They're round on both sides. This one here, they're all stuck in position, and the pointed one is facing the race. And they're all tight and somewhat twisted, so. And this was freewheeling both directions, so. That's what a rolled Sprag looks like. I ordered and received 2 of the Hydroforce Valve that I was searching for to build my homemade external dump valve for my Turbo 400. Discount Hydraulics online. They listed all the pieces individual. That's just the way they do it, but this SV10-22 blah 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 number is what you want. This is a normally closed valve. It does not come with the -6 fittings. You need to source -8 ORB or port, they're called. They have an O-ring base, ORB O-ring base. The -6 is what my plumbing is going to be for my cooler lines, which I'm tapping into, so I had to source these separate. And it's substantial enough that I'm not going to mount it just on the fitting like I would have with the lighter valve if the lighter valve had worked out. This is a nice piece. It comes unassembled. Again, individual pieces, but under that part number you get everything you need. And it's a simple matter to screw it together. It's a beautiful piece, and it comes with these 2 half-moon holes that I'm going to use to make a bracket. So I need to wait till the transmission's in the car because I want to mount it independent of the shield, which uses the oil pan bolts as well as the shifter bracket. There's a lot of stuff going on already with that. I don't want to add on to that complication, so I want to mount it back off the tail housing probably. So I'm going to wait till I get it back in the car, and we'll plumb it up, and we'll assemble our PTFE lines, and lots more on that in the future, but if you're looking to build your own, follow along. And in case you're wondering, I brought 2 with shipping, $155.30. That was for 2, because I'm going to make 2 complete setups. Coming up this week, I should receive the rest of the fittings required to plumb the dump valve project, and I should receive the B&M deep aluminum pan for my Turbo 400 that's going in the 72 Nova. I'm going to finish that, install the pan, the shifter bracket, the safety shield. That whole mess goes on together. Kind of a pain. Once you do it the first time, it's not a big deal. And then I'll put it back in the car and plumb up the dump valve. So that's coming up. Hopefully this week I should be able to accomplish that. I need to get back on the 71 Nova, get that off the lift. I got a few things I need to do there. I'm still cleaning. It's almost a joke at this point, but I'm my own worst enemy. If I make space, I find something to fill it with, so whatever. All I can do is keep shuffling things around. And then we'll get on to more builds. I have another Turbo 400 I need to build for somebody else, so I'll probably just blow through that off camera. Sorry, but it slows me down, and you've seen it a few times. I like to bring interesting Turbo 400 content at this point. Different anyway. Again, each core is a story, so actually finding out why they're here is always fun. So like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. It's really helpful. It all adds up to some mysterious algorithm, but as long as we're trending upward, this is kind of fun. I'm going to keep doing it, so please keep watching. Catch you soon, couple days.